Yeah, we have JR here, who's a DJ, who's in the military, all kinds of stuff. So thank you for coming in.
Absolutely.
Okay, so to get started, where did you grow up at?
Well, I was born in Long Island, New York.
Oh, really? So you're from up north like me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I stayed there till I was about 8. My dad, stepdad, was a manager at U.S. Air at LaGuardia, and he got a transfer to Palm Beach International to be like the customer service manager. So we transferred over here when I was about 8. Grew up in Wellington.
Really?
Yeah.
So can you tell the major difference between up north and here?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of similarities, palm trees and beaches, I'd say. But you know, the people, there's a lot of New Yorkers here.
Well, so you were in New York. So I was in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So in Pennsylvania, it's like it's night and day. Like down here, there's just snake. These guys are the most manipulative people I've ever met in my life.
The Floridians?
Oh, yeah.
But I feel are people that I don't meet too many people that are actually from Florida. It's very rare. I feel like, at least in South Florida.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people that are transplants.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as the women go, it seems like the South Florida women just think they're all hot shit.
Yeah.
And they're rude and they're I definitely, because I spent a lot of time in North Carolina. And the people there are just totally different, and they're just so nice and friendly. And I was like always waving, and I'm like, why are these people waving to me? But
my friend went to North Carolina. He said it's like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I forget where he's at, but wherever he is, he's like, to go to a Walmart, it's like 20 minutes to Walmart, 15 minutes to get to McDonald's, all that crazy
nice out there,
stuff.
though.
So you moved here, what, 8?
I moved here when I was like 8. My dad stayed there. I moved here with my stepdad and my mom, and I would go back every summer to visit Long Island, hang out with him, and went to school in Wellington High School, played baseball, did all that fun stuff, and then fast forward and joined the military when I turned 18, right out of high school, and did that for a few years. And
how long were you in the military for?
I did 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Where did they put you at?
Well, in my contract, I was supposed to go with a friend to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, go airborne, 82nd Airborne, do that whole thing. And for some reason, when we got done with basic training, he had his orders to go to Fort Bragg and my orders to go to the 101st Airborne Division at Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Okay.
So I spent 3 years at Fort Campbell, did some training in Germany, but was there most of the time, partied a lot in Nashville. That was like my city. And ended up going to Iraq shortly after the whole 9/11 thing. I was in Iraq from 2003, 2004, an entire year. I think it was a year and 3 days, actually.
Yeah, I saw that on your thing that you were on. Now, how was Iraq? What was that like? I mean, were you out there in the field? Or were you,
we were in the shit. But there's the thing about it is when I was there, I was like literally, I'd say maybe even the first 100 people to cross the Kuwait border into Iraq when the war started.
Oh, okay.
I was planted in Kuwait. We just waited. I was there for like a month, and then we went into Iraq. The thing is, when I got there, that's when the Iraqis and everyone were kind of in hiding. They didn't know what was going on. They were nervous. They were scared. So all the terrorists were kind of just laying low. About 6 months in, that's when things started happening and getting a little crazy. But after I left, that's when they were shooting down helicopters left and right and just coming out and just really planning attacks. IEDs was a big thing, like roadside bombs and stuff. I still, to this day, when I'm driving, every once in a while, I see like a bag on the side of the road. I kind of get nervous. I'm like, what is that? Drive around it. But it was scary. It was scarier when we were getting ready to leave. When we got the word, hey, you're heading out, we're going to Iraq. And I was like, oh, man, I didn't know what to expect. And you're sitting in the airport, you're waiting to go. Once you get your feet on the ground there, it's a little different. You're with all these people. You almost feel a little comfortable. We got in some firefights and dealt with some roadside bombs. And, I lost a few friends while I was over there. But ultimately, I think it was a really cool experience. I mean, something that most people can't say they've ever done.
Right.
The last 6 months we were there, we took over a international hotel in Mosul, Iraq, which is right along the Tigris River. And we ended up like just kind of redoing it. We got electricity. We got, showers and water.
So you kind of like Americanized it in a way?
I went and bought an Xbox and a TV.
Really?
Yeah, because we had like a little, what do they call those things? Like where all the Americans, they put up these pop-up shops where we can go get food and clothes and stuff, like recreational stuff, just to kind of keep us, happy. So on our downtime, we could play video games.
But like when you were there, is there like any type of metropolis, like any type of mall or any?
There was, like in Baghdad, obviously there's a lot of stuff going on, but nothing that we could go to. It was funny actually. Like I said, when we first got there, it wasn't so crazy. So we were taking our, I was actually a commander's driver, so I had access to a vehicle at all times.
Oh, wow.
So I'd hop in the Humvee, grab a couple guys, and we'd go into the city. We found like a little liquor store. We'd buy some booze. We'd head back. But then when shit started hitting the fan, what's the cursing situation?
You can say
okay.
fuck.
Okay, just making sure. Once shit started hitting the fan, then all of a sudden there was like you needed permission to leave, to go anywhere. So it was a pretty interesting time to be there because like we got to kind of explore on our own a little bit. But generally the population were excited we were there. They were all like, President Bush, great, and they loved us. But obviously there's the terrorists that were planning attacks, and some of the buildings I lived in got hit with mortar rounds and rockets.
Damn.
And grenades being thrown over the fence where we live.
Now, when you were there, so it was pretty tense.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't just like a hangout,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, but it was the first 6 months was us literally just driving up north, setting up different, talks in different areas and communicating and taking over different areas and securing areas and creating our own little bases within, Iraq. And then the last 6 months we were stationed there at that hotel. My job was to drive one of the commanders, a captain, to local banks to do the exchange of dinar from the old dinar that had Saddam's face on it to the new dinar that was without Saddam.
Yeah.
So that was like our job towards the end. I was just basically at banks all day. Interesting story is we were like idiots driving the same route every day. Someone got wind of it. And there was I get a paper one day. Someone's like, hey, come over here. I was on an actual document from our intelligence saying that there was a planned attack on me and my captain to take us out and they were going to deliver a bouquet of roses to the bank manager for his wife. And then when we came into the office, they were going to detonate it. Someone found out somehow. To this day, I don't know. But that's kind of scary to like see a document from like, United States Intelligence Agency that like, hey, someone's trying to kill you.
Right. So they were going to send roses to this place, but it was really a bomb.
It was a bomb inside the vase.
And they got you because you kept taking the same route.
They knew where we were coming.
And you know what? You would think that they would be aware. Like maybe we're in Iraq here.
We should be.
Maybe you should switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of shocking that we did that.
And that was the Army. Is that what that was?
U.S. Army. Yep.
Yeah. And now, so like when you're there, right, and you live this. Now, I've had like conspiracy guys in here and stuff, and they sell me on some of it, but not all of it. Now, do you think that was all about oil?
I don't think so. I mean, you never know. I mean, I don't call myself a conspiracy theorist, but
yeah,
I do believe that there's a lot of things we don't know about, and there's things that we do. But there were times that I was there, I would kind of question, like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? And everyone's like, it's because 9/11 and they attacked us, but yet we're hearing it was Saudis and stuff that the ones that like orchestrated 9/11. So why are we in Iraq?
Right.
But then there's ties, and obviously Hussein needed to be taken out of power. That guy was a fucking piece of shit and like murdering people all the time and his two sons apparently raped girls left and right.
Wow.
Just like and I was actually there. So Uday and Qusay, that's a fun story. On my way back from one of our bank trips, they had been looking for Uday and Qusay, that's Saddam's two sons, and that we took them out. We found out the building they were in, and I was there in the back watching this whole thing go down as they just fucking annihilated this building and took these two dudes out.
Well, how'd they do it?
I mean, just rockets propelled from the top of
snipers.
No, it was big rockets shot from the top of Humvees.
They weren't missing this shit.
I mean, they leveled the building.
Yeah,
they leveled the entire building.
And they were both in it.
And they were both there.
And now at this time, is Saddam still alive?
Saddam was. Wait, I think I don't remember, but I want to say that Saddam was still alive. And yeah, I think that he was still alive at that point because I remember thinking, okay, this is gonna
set him off.
Yeah,
not now. You just whacked out his two sons. Yeah, he's gonna go fucking
But
AWOL.
I heard those two guys were worse than he was. Like the stories
really?
from the Iraqis, they were like those two guys were just pure evil. and they were just they'd go out and in their nice fucking car, the cars those guys drive with just really crazy golden fucking whatever, and just literally just kill people and rape women and
sick.
Yeah.
Now, did they ever actually find nuclear weapons there?
I mean, yes,
they did.
There was a program. Yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, I know they had a program, but I'm just telling you what I've read, like as not a person in the military, and it seemed like there wasn't even any. Like maybe he had the program.
Yeah.
But
there wasn't actually.
But the Bushes were acting like, look, it's there. We got to go
take
rock
it out,
these
get rid
people
of it,
out.
yeah.
And I always thought, even after, not just the conspiracy stuff, but I always thought this is because H. Bush wanted to take him out.
Yeah.
Didn't get the job done.
Yeah.
So then W gets in, and he has that asshole behind him. Sorry if you like him. Cheney.
Okay, yeah.
Dirty motherfucker. So I always thought it was just over oil.
It could be. I mean, like I said, I don't remember. I mean, obviously, we were told that they found like nuclear weapons and destroyed them, and weapons caches and stuff like that. But I don't really remember. It's so long ago. But and then I was very young then, so like I wasn't really into politics yet. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of just, we're here. This is what we're told to do. I didn't get into the political side of it. Like I said, there were times where I was like, why are we here? Are we really doing this because we're taking these people out, or is there an ulterior motive to the whole thing? So, I mean, you never know, man.
But now looking back older, and now seeing what's going on with all this political stuff,
it's
just got to blow your mind, right?
It does, and that's the crazy thing about it is actually even not that long ago, that building that I told you I was living in, and it was right next to a palace that we also took over that we were using as our headquarters for our entire division. ISIS ended up taking over, and I saw a picture of the building with the ISIS flags all over it, and I'm like, I lived in that building.
And this is the hotel that was built that was to be like Americanized?
We left, and the ISIS took it over, and that was their headquarters. So it's like we pulled out. What was the purpose? We pulled out. Now there's other. There's always going to be some other piece of shit that's going to take over. I don't think like the Iraqi police are really, and the military have control of what goes on over there. I mean,
they're paid off anyway, right?
Yeah,
or they don't want their families cut up to pieces.
Exactly.
One of those.
Exactly. So I mean, what was the point? We took out Saddam. Did we really need to send all these troops over there and into battle to take out, a couple guys? I don't know. So.
Right, like you said, and then what happened? Yeah. Then Osama comes in, and he's even worse.
Yeah,
I mean, that was Afghanistan.
Yeah, but I mean, same thing. There's always there's another guy in line who's just as fucked up, who's just as bad, and he's going to take power. And we just went in and ended up leaving, and it's in probably the same situation that they were before, just with a different guy.
Right.
So
now, from a military aspect, seeing what you went through and been through, how do you think Donald Trump handled the military? I mean, he took out quite a few guys.
Yeah,
and he seemed to do it pretty carefully.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, that's the kind of thing that I feel like. Why didn't they do something like that back then? Why did it take so much? Why are we using so much military power
back then? Right
back then,
yeah.
To do this mission where we took out some terrorists and bad people, and with his little with that, what was it, the drone attacks that took out that
boom, didn't even have to have anybody really there, right?
I mean, that's obviously the way to go now. I mean, I really tried to stay partial with this whole
me too
with the politics and but from what I hear, that Donald Trump's this presidency was the least amount of conflict that any president's had in the last however many years.
Yeah, but you'll never hear that.
Yeah.
You'll never, that's probably on some, they'll say it one time and you'll never hear it again.
So, I mean.
And maybe the reason why they did that with you in the military back then when Bush was running, because of all the money they make by going to war.
Yeah.
All the guns they got to buy, all the trucks, everything like that. Yeah. I mean, it's just a money maker for everybody.
It always comes down to money.
So then when these presidents get out of the White House, like Obama just went and bought that house for $8 million or $18 million, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was paid off $8 million. Now he's making $400K a year. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bush was already loaded from the oil, but
that's the thing. I just saw something on the news, and I don't know if it's true, but they said Biden in 2016 was worth $400,000 or something like that, and then 2017 to 2018, all of a sudden it's 13 or 16 million or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but where are they getting this
Well,
money from?
well, on the doc, yeah, someone was getting that $3.5 million.
Yeah.
I still want why don't they ask him that?
Yeah. No one does. No one does.
But why don't they ask him anything like that?
Because-
I mean, even like the right side doesn't ask him
I
anything.
know.
Now, can you imagine if this was reversed?
Oh,
and that dossier came out on Trump?
Yeah. Oh, everyone every day.
Oh.
Like all the debates, no one brought any. Trump kept trying to say it, but
Yeah.
they didn't ask him any questions about Russia or not Russia. China and the dealings over there and the documents that they've seen and the email. No one's following up on any of those emails that came up on the computer. I don't know.
And you can't deny it, like whether you're for Trump or Biden.
Yeah.
It was like Biden.
Something's going on.
What'd you wear yesterday?
Yeah.
And then Trump was like, "So you're a racist."
Yeah.
And then back to Biden. What color pants do you have on today? Then back to Trump. Oh, you're a sexist.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
like, what
yeah.
the hell?
Yeah.
And then you got 2 minutes
It's
to
been like
answer.
that from day one. Since he got in
Yeah.
office, it's like just the media's hammering him, and really I feel like painted a picture that he's this person that I don't think he really is as racist as everyone thinks he is. And I mean, I've known people before he was even contemplating running for president that have worked for him and said he was a great person to work for. He was always polite. He was going to his club Mar-a-Lago and handing everyone on Christmas $100 bills for the staff. And I know black people have worked for him, and everyone always said good things about him. Then all of a sudden he became president. Now he's just this.
Yeah, well, the whatever you call it, they can't handle that he's not.
Yeah,
because they can't control him.
They can't control
right?
him, and he's not. And that's what I like. Like I said, I always try to stay impartial, and But what I liked about him is he wasn't like the typical politician. He's telling you how it is, and he didn't care about being politically correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes the shit that comes out of his mouth, you're like, did you
Yeah,
really
I
just
know,
say
right?
that? But
I mean,
it's almost refreshing, I think.
right. And what attracted me to him, just like you, was that he's just like me and you.
Yeah.
He's not paid off by anybody. He's
Yeah.
got money. He's got a hot wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he just goes on and just, oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I mean, and then everybody, you can relate to him because it's not fake. It's not scripted.
And that's why they say they're always like, he's a liar, he's a liar, he's a liar. It's like, I feel like every other politician in the world's been more of a liar than he is. He pretty much shoots it straight for the most part. Yes, I'm sure he's twisted a lot of things, and obviously,
like they all do.
Yeah, everyone does. But
Yeah.
I think he probably does a lot less than most politicians do. But it's never been an issue. The media didn't really give a shit who the president was because it wasn't really affecting him. He was attacking the media because they're always painting their own picture, and he's going after them. So now they're firing back, and the way to do that, they're making him look like he's this racist, bad person. And then that's where we are now.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then as a military person, what did you think about how he was able to make that deal with Kim Jong-un?
Kim Jong-un. Yeah.
That was impressive. Bro.
Fuck. That's no one has ever even attempted that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The guy's got fucking balls.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. He's trying to make these relationships that no one ever tried, and this could be save eventually down the line, maybe save lives. Who knows?
Yeah, because that might have set something off, but who knows what's going to happen now? And the last thing
I don't see Biden going over to North Korea and sitting down with Kim Jong Un or going.
He won't know where he's at.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be what's her name?
Kamala taking over.
It's going to be Kamala,
Yeah.
and I shiver when I say this. And Pelosi.
Oh God.
Well, that's who's third in line.
Yeah, I know.
If he croaks or really doesn't take his medicine.
Well, they said. Obviously all the conspiracy theorists are saying that he's going to be. They're going to deem him not fit to run the country because.
Oh, that's not going to be hard to do. I don't think.
And then all of a sudden they're in charge, and the Pelosi, honestly, she terrifies me. She's fucking. Yeah, and it's crazy to me. Like, why do they let these people stay in power for so long? I mean, they're so out of touch. Like that picture of her with the African things around their neck, and like, really.
And then Jared, look, she's at a press conference. Now you put on the TV. They're at a press conference. There's probably 20 people in that room. They're all tested. They have a fucking mask on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Why? And I mean, come on, you're pushing it.
Yeah.
And where I think they fucked up on this election is they went too hard.
Yeah.
Biden got more votes than any other president in history.
Yeah, right. Bullshit.
Jared, come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he did
more
little
than
bit.
President Obama.
Yeah,
more
and
than
Obama was a slick talker.
Yeah, exactly. That guy, like I, besides all the bullshit they say happened, I actually, saw that guy and looked at, that's a legit dude. That's a stand-up guy.
Oh, he sold me.
Yeah.
I think, what was it, 2008 he ran, right?
I
The
think
first-
so. Yeah,
first
the first
one.
one. Yeah,
He sold me.
Yeah.
Because he was just
Sharp
just a
chest, slick
charismatic
talker, yeah, charismatic.
talker.
You're
blah,
telling me
blah,
that brain dead dude that's up there now got more
blah.
votes?
Yeah. Get out
Yeah.
of here.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't think it's over by a long shot
No?
yet.
What do you think is going to happen? What's your prediction, JR?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, there's so many people against Trump, so they're going to try to shut him down at every opportunity they can. But at some point, like the things I'm reading, like dead people voting and all this shit, they're going to have a recount, I would imagine.
I don't think a recount will do it, though.
Yeah.
I was talking to
And look closely and have people watching, because apparently they were like the GOP guys. They were like not letting them in to watch.
like sometimes you had to be 25 feet away.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What are you going to bring binoculars?
Yeah, exactly.
You know
so
what
I mean, maybe they'll have a system where they're like, okay, we're going to pay more attention, and
I just think he's got to have a bomb. It can't be, oh, we need a recount. Oh, there's fake vote. Like just something, a bomb. And as we were talking before we went on, just to like we were just talking, Trump is on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Basically he's saying F this, F that, blah 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 blah, hitting people left and right with left hooks, right hooks, and he's been real quiet. And I had a guy in here, and he said, Trump is into like the Machiavelli, the Art of War type thing.
Yeah.
And in that book, Art of War by Sun Tzu, or however you say his name, he went quiet, and then he just came with the bomb.
Yeah.
And for him to be golfing after he just got, basically
and
all the
has
states
been
taken
going to
from
meetings
him.
and shit like that.
Wow.
And
So it almost
he's up to something. Like
and I said this with this other guy, so it's kind of a repeat, but he's a businessman, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a strategic businessman, very good. So probably right in February, when he blocked China coming in, he probably already figured, well, these mail-in ballots are going to be an issue. And you would think, and as smart as he is, probably from February on, he started plotting and planning to be prepared for this. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but, when we get into your DJ career, if Biden shuts everything down, man, that's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And that's what they're talking. They're talking like they want to shut things
it down.
again. What the fuck are you going to shut things down for?
I mean, especially after now. I mean, everyone's going to fucking have this thing at some point.
Yeah.
You
take the vitamin D, the zinc.
If you're a cancer patient, or your immune system, whatever is compromised, go you fucking stay home.
Yeah.
And you take care of yourself, and you make sure you're okay until they come out with the vaccine or whatever it is. But I mean, I've been going hard since right around Cinco de Mayo, around huge crowds. No one wearing masks. I worked up at Blue Point in Jupiter, and they were just kind of like they have different rules and laws because they're in Martin County and they're an outdoor venue.
Yeah, Martin County's tough.
And I mean, I'm not seeing everyone catching it. I'm not seeing people getting sick that often. It's going to happen, of course, but
and I think that
let's move on.
It seems like the only people that are dying are people with pre-existing conditions.
Yeah. I know one guy that died, and he had asthma, sleep apnea, diabetes, and he also waited like he was sick for an entire week before he even went to the hospital.
Yeah.
And like at that point, they said he already had a collapsed lung.
Right. So he walks in there with a collapsed lung. So
yeah.
But that's one out of how many people?
I mean,
we may have even had it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I did, and I took a test, and it came back inconclusive. They said I didn't get enough specimen on the Q-tip. But
yeah,
I mean, at this point, I know 50, 60 people personally that have had it, and they're like, I was sick for a few days, and I got up and I started working out, running outside, and I felt fine.
Yeah, I know 10, 20 people, and they said about 2 days.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they hammered vitamin D, 5,000 IU, and zinc, and vitamin C.
Yeah.
And 2 days they were down. It was more like just like a flu thing.
Same thing, yeah. So, well, and then this is what we're shutting the country down for, and putting all these people like I said from the beginning that the aftermath of shutting shit down is going to be worse than the actual.
Yeah.
Thing itself, because you're putting people out of work. They're going to get depressed. People are going to start killing themselves. Families are going to get in fights, husband and wives, and it's just going to cause a bunch of bullshit that, is it really worth it? It's just like going to war. The casualty, whatever that, there's a special...
There's like a line. So say you kill Saddam, you kill his two sons, right? But then, how many lives does it take?
Is it worth make a balance? And the thing is, that's the problem. Everyone's looking at it with too much emotion. Well, if my dad got COVID and died, you can't look at it with emotion. You got to look at it like, is it worth shutting the economy down? Is it worth hurting all these other people financially? The money it's going to take to get things going, is that all worth the 200,000 lives that we're going to lose, globally or whatever, that all were older people with pre-existing conditions,
Yeah. And small business will never be able to come back from it.
I mean, I have 3 friends of mine. They're bar owners that they're
Dead?
done. They just close the doors.
Like for good?
For
They
good.
just can't do it?
Nope. That's just me personally. 3 people. I mean,
Yeah.
that sucks.
And that's just the beginning,
Mhm.
So when they go in, they shut it down again. And then on top of that, they want to go in and they want to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Okay?
Yeah.
So now you knock that $15 an hour. Now you say, look, you have to pay $15 an hour. Okay? So now you just shut down the economy. You made small businesses close. Now on top of that, if you somehow, which I don't know how, if you somehow manage to survive that situation of being shut down, now you're going to implement $15 an hour mandatory minimum. I mean, unless you have the money to buy a robot.
Well, I'm saying like the checkout lines at Publix are all going to be fucking, self-service.
Because who the hell is going to pay $15 an hour?
$15 an hour. I mean, if you're not worth the money, why? Who's going to want to pay that?
I just don't understand again, whether you're for Biden or Trump, whatever, I respect it.
Yeah.
It don't matter to me. But just listen to this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you possibly think that this is going to work?
Mm-mm.
And then you're going to do another crazy bailout because you want to keep the country shut down?
Yeah.
Okay, well, somebody's got to pay
Someone's
for that.
paying for that, yeah.
Okay, where on the other hand, again, I don't want to get too political because you get your balls killed. You
Yeah,
know, you don't have any nuts after 2 days.
Yeah, I know.
Social
I
media
got in a big. I try to stay off social media with that shit, but every once in a while I just can't keep my mouth shut.
You can't because
and I made a post and I've been fucking regretting it ever since because everyone's just comment. I'm trying to keep up with all of it.
And it's not just Trump. It's just you look at the policy that they come with. So you want to shut down the country. You want to add minimum wage. You want to do another massive bailout instead of just opening up the country. Well, again,
where's all this money coming from?
Where's it going to come from?
Yeah.
And then you want to raise taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So they think, okay, if you're a big business, we're going to tax the hell out of you. Okay, well, what is that going to do? Okay, now
people's prices are going to go up.
Prices are going to go up. You're going to now you're a big company. You're just going to get machines.
Yeah.
You're not going to create more business.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, man. Give me a percentage. I ask everybody, what's the percent chance you think Trump flips it?
The actual vote?
Yeah, where he, I'm sure they'll end up declaring him because he's got to go to the Supreme Court. He's never going to win this other bullshit.
Yeah.
What would you give him percentage wise?
That he'll make it happen?
Yeah.
Oh man, I just the only thing is I think it's people will do dirty, shady shit to keep him out of the office. So it's like that's what scared me. I was like, this guy's never going to win the election because they'll do whatever it takes. They don't care about who they're hurting or going to jail or anything like that. I don't know. 50. I'm going to give it 50.
Yeah.
50-50 chance.
And see, JR, what I was saying this to a few other people that weren't, is that he's got to go against the Democrats.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got to go against the Clintons, which they're like a mob themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The lobbyists, Silicon Valley, and biggest of all, China.
Yeah.
There's nobody that wants him out more than China. Because Biden will flip that tariff in a second, which is just stupid. I mean, that's just insane. Well, 50-50. I mean,
yeah. Let's see.
I guess we'll take it.
You know what's funny is, and I was saying this, but what I'm scared about is if that does happen, the fucking protests and the riots that are going to happen, and the cities are going to be burning down across the country.
If he flips it?
If he flips it, yeah. I mean, because these people are celebrating now, and can you imagine they go, sorry.
Now as a DJ, right? Now think about how crazy this is, right? Okay, so they're allowed to go protest. No mask on, no 6 feet, 10,000 people. They're allowed to go protest.
Yeah.
But
I can't have 100 people on a dance floor.
You can't have 100 or 1,000 people at a show.
It's been.
Come on.
It's been driving me crazy from day one.
How can you go vote for that?
They have spent so much time and effort, going after the restaurant nightlife industry and blaming everything on them, and it got me so mad for so long because I'm like they don't think about the people they're affecting. Like these people, this is their bread and butter. I saw females who are single parents that are bartenders that now can't pay their rent. They can't even buy food for their kids because you won't even let them fucking bartend in a restaurant when you can have protests with all these people.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
No, it's not.
And they put together the mayor in West Palm Beach put together a task force to keep an eye on everything when everything was open up, and they were coming around writing tickets left and right. And,
What, really?
Yeah, it was crazy, and they were going after Roxy's in particular, and the owner of Roxy's like literally luring them up there because he wanted to fucking lay into them. He's like, I'm tired of this shit because they're going around bullying businesses, making up rules that didn't exist. I mean, he had the fucking orders, printed out, waiting for them to come in. And they're making up shit. Like, they made a rule that wasn't in any order we could find that said they were going around telling bars, no one's allowed to just sit down and drink. They have to be eating. And like, there's nothing that says that. And so we were going around putting, like, we'd have parties eating, or parties sitting around drinking, and we would be putting basket of French fries on people's tables.
Yeah.
Just so they're happy.
Just so it goes with their guidelines.
And then they were saying, like, dance floors. They say, you can't have people dancing. What do you mean you can't have people dancing? Why? And it doesn't say that anywhere. And they're fucking shutting people down over this. So he got them up there, and they came up and said the same thing. You got people dancing. You have this. They're not wearing masks. So he's like, well, if they have a drink in their hand, they're just making up their own shit. And he fucking laid into them. And, you guys you're getting your paycheck every week. You're getting your paycheck every week. You're getting your paycheck every week. But my employees have been suffering, and you're denying them, and you're fucking with them, and you're fucking with their money. I don't care about me. You're fucking with their money. And they can't live because you guys want to come around and bully people and make up your own rules.
Wow, I didn't know that they were doing that.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. But it's funny, he said that to them, and they never showed up again.
Really?
He wrote a letter to all the city attorneys, I guess, or whatever it is, the city council, and wrote them all a letter, and basically was like, threatening to sue and saying this is what's going on. All the businesses are being bullied, and they kind of laid off.
It seems like DeSantis did a pretty good job. He did the best he could.
Yeah.
I mean, he opened up before anybody else, and we got, this is like God's waiting room down there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of old people.
There's a lot of old people.
And he still did it.
Yeah.
He said, look, you got to work.
People got to work. People have to get out of their house, and a lot of people criticized him, but I mean, he's I feel like the only person that was looking out for the nightlife industry or the restaurants or anything, because he knows that these are people, they need to work too. And the gyms opening, he got the gyms open up pretty quickly, and his thing was like, I feel like, if what's the best thing you do if you're working out and you're getting exercise and your immune system's stronger, you have a better chance of fighting off this disease. So why would I want people not to be exercising? Why would I want people to be sitting in their house? I don't know.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So now, do you have any brothers and sisters?
No brothers and sisters.
Only child.
Yep. Only child.
So you get out of the Army. You did 4 years, you said.
4 years.
So now,
my reenlistment window came up, and I've just spent a year being shot at. And I was like, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks.
Any close calls?
Yeah, there were a few. One time I was telling you earlier, I was in a building that we were watching. I'll never forget this because we were watching Gangs of New York. I was one of the only rooms that was able to get a TV and all the Xbox and all that stuff. We were watching Gangs of New York, and all of a sudden, our building we were living in slammed at 3 rockets. Blew out all the windows, and we're hiding in the fucking bathtub and with our shorts on and fucking M16 on us, and that was pretty wild. Yeah, but the grenades being thrown out, IEDs hitting trucks that I was driving behind or in front of. Was
that the scariest situation?
Yeah. Yeah, so.
And I was kind of like...
and the gunfights were just random fucking people shooting from a distance, so it wasn't anything like super close. There was like no close combat, but,
Now, when you got out of it, did you have any like PSD from that, do you think? I know you said like when you drive by, if you see a bag.
When I came back, I remember, one thing I remember in particular is I had a fucking huge anxiety attack during 4th of July. And I was downtown, and I had to leave. The fire was blowing up, and I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. It was literally, I think, 2 months after I gotten out of the military, and probably 3 or 4 since I've been in Iraq. Over time, I mean, I'm fine now,
Yeah, it was just like the initial
adjustment from going from, that environment back to normal. It was a little weird.
Yeah.
It was definitely a little weird.
I bet. Yeah. You're going from there to here,
yeah.
the rockets flying, whether they hit you or not. Yeah. They're still there, and then you're driving to the bangs. You know that you almost got blown up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you would have went in there, you wouldn't be sitting here right now, I don't think.
Nope.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's something you got to think about. Okay, so you get out of the military, and then you have a kid, right?
No, I do. I mean, he's 6 now, but that was – so, I mean, I've been out for a while before I had him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens once you get out of the Army?
Well, I spent my time in the then I guess the hospitality industry as, a server, bar back, all that stuff before I left. And then I kind of was like, well, I'm going to fall back into what I know. So I went and got a job serving at Smoky Bones in Wellington.
Yeah, I've eaten there a few times.
And I ended up getting to the point where I was a manager, but I wanted to bartend. I was like, I got to bartend. I want to bartend. And I started bartending there. And then I don't know how it happened, but I ended up seeing this guy, Rob Houston, who's a flair bartender, and he's flipping the bottles and doing all that fun stuff. And that was cool back then. Right now it's like mixology and craft cocktails, but then it was like...
I still think it's cool when they flip it, you know what I mean?
But I was like, I got to do that. So I took a course, and I was sitting in my backyard and learning how to flip bottles and do all this fun stuff. So I started doing flair bartending, and I worked at a bunch of different bars, and they were giving me extra money, like, okay, we want you to work here, and we'll give you $100 shift pay because they wanted me to entertain the guests and stuff.
Yeah.
So I did that.
So could you do that, like where you would take, like you would go to make a drink and you throw it behind your back and catch it with this hand? You could do
all that stuff. Yeah,
that's badass.
It was fun, and every once in a while, like I mean, that's been years since I do that, but I'll be like playing around in my room. I'll have a wine bottle, you know, I'm with my girlfriend just drinking. I'll start flipping it around. She's like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" Because no one, I've been around for so long that now that everyone knows me as the DJ, didn't realize I was actually a bartender before I started DJing.
I mean, you know what? Now you say that, I miss seeing that.
Yeah,
because I used to go out,
it was big. They had competitions, you know, all the time. Like Orlando was a huge one. Vegas obviously had a huge flair bartending competition, and it was a big community. And I was fully invested. Like I was traveling, I was going here, I was, you know, buying workshops and like I was just into this whole thing, and it blew my mind. There's a place called Carnival Court in Vegas that I used to love going to, and that was like their thing, flair bartending.
I think that's awesome.
They'd stick fucking 30 bottles of booze on their head and walk around the bar. And
how much practice does that take? That's got to be.
I mean, those guys are fucking. They're sitting in their backyard for 10 hours, you know, like just every day.
Yeah,
like
but they're getting paid though.
Oh yeah, they're making, you know, $250,000, $500,000 in Vegas back then.
Flipping bottles. Yeah. And why'd it go out? Why'd they stop doing it?
I think the shift became the cocktail, you know, whiskey became very popular. Then it was like people just wanted to get drunk and party, and it wasn't like then all of a sudden it was cool to have like a cool whiskey cocktail. And that's where I think everything became into mixology. So instead of like putting a show into you making your drink, the cool thing is now to like, you know, have the you know, cool little apron on, and you know the hipster guy with the cool mustache, and making you with your jiggers and making like a really cool cocktail, and you know, spritzing it with this and putting.
I want the flips back.
Yeah, exactly.
I want the flips and the behind the back and cash it. Yeah.
But the craft cocktail is like that's like what's cool now. So
yeah.
You know, I don't know. They kind of went away. It might come back. Who knows?
I hope so.
That was Fridays, TGI Fridays. That was like the basis of their concept.
The restaurant?
Yeah,
TGI Fridays used to do that?
That Fridays, that was their thing. Like they were when they opened up, it was like all about flair bartending.
TGI Fridays.
And
the franchise.
Every fucking at one point, obviously it's not anymore, but at one point, every fucking bartender that went there had to go through a flair bartending course.
Wow.
And they put on national competitions, because I used to DJ the one in Palm Beach Gardens.
Yeah.
So they would have these competitions where all the Fridays employees got together, and then it moved up and up and up until they had like the top 3 in the entire company battling for, you know, Fridays.
Why in the hell would TGI Fridays stop that? They need that now. I mean, it was dead the last time I haven't
been. I feel like just chain restaurants in general, no one really goes to them anymore.
They get so franchised.
Yeah,
and then
it's too much. Yeah, and it's shit food and.
Yeah, and then you got all those regulations and shit.
Yeah.
You know, from the the corporation.
Yeah.
You know.
I had a weird itch the other day, and I went into Red Lobster.
Yeah,
because I was like, I want one of those fucking biscuits. They have these.
Butter biscuits, right? And you know they're like terrible. For you,
terrible.
Right? You're like that. I'm gonna have to run on the treadmill for 3 hours.
I ate like 6 of them in one sitting.
Yeah, you can't just eat one.
Yeah,
and then if you put the butter on it and you melt it, you ever put butter on it and melt it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Unbelievable.
Forget about it.
Yep.
You'll die. We'll be 300 pounds if we go there together.
I fucking can't
you're probably 300 pounds of muscle right now.
No,
but
240.
All right, well, you'll be 60 pounds heavier of fat, and I'll be just a fat midget.
There you go.
All right, so you start bartending.
And that's what I was telling you earlier. It's kind of funny story how I got into DJing. It's like not something I ever, like, I wasn't into music or DJing or anything, like, you know, music at all. And I was... there was a place called Jumbie Bay in Jupiter, which is still there, actually.
Yeah.
It was the hot spot then. Like the Wednesday nights, they had people coming from Boca to go all the way to Jupiter, and it was packed. I mean, they had a block off the street just because it was so busy that the people were falling into the traffic and stopping cars, so they would shut the street down every week just because it was so busy. So I was like, I gotta work here. And that's when I was in the middle of my flair bartending thing. I was like, this is the place I want to be. I gotta get a job there. So I went in there and I talked to the owner, who ended up becoming a pretty good friend of mine. And he's like, I'll be honest with you, I don't have a bartending position. But he's like, but I really would like to have you. He's like, how do you feel about serving, and we'll get you there. And you hear that a lot, so I was kind of hesitant, but I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. So I started serving there, and I served there for a few months. Right after I started serving, one night he came up to me, he's like, listen, he's like, you're fresh out of the military, you're a big guy. He's like, I need security for Wednesday nights. Are you willing to do security? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I don't know, $10 an hour or whatever, check girls' IDs all night. But so one night the DJ didn't show up, and I'm standing there next to like the stage and doing security. He's like, hey, you seem like a pretty hip dude. He's like, if I give you these iPods, could you just play some music off them for everyone? And I'm like, okay. So I had a mixing board just like that. And I had 2 channels plugged in with 2 iPods, and I was just sitting there like just trying to mix 2 songs together with iPods. You can't even change the pitch or do anything, so it was just a massive train wreck. And he's like, hey, and some guy came up to me and was just like laughing at me. He thought I was like trying to be a real DJ, and he's like, what are you doing? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And so the guy's like, hey, you played good music. Everyone seemed to have a good time. We had a really busy night. He's like, would you want to do it again next week? Might as well just have you do it.
So they liked your iPod.
They loved, and it wasn't even my iPod.
Yeah.
It was just I was picking fucking music. I had these 2 random iPods they gave me. So I was like, okay. So I was like, but I'm when I get involved in something and I do something, I want to do it right. I want to do like everything. Like I excel in the military or, the bartending business. Anything I do, I put my heart and soul into it. I want to do it right. So I went and I fucking bought turntables. I bought fucking mixer. I spent like $3,000 on just some equipment, and I watched YouTube videos.
And was that the basic stuff that you needed to get started?
Yeah.
Not like high end stuff.
No, I went and got
So to DJ, what do you really like? What do you need? You need a soundboard.
Now it's a little different. Like the controllers is the thing. Like massive controllers is kind of an all-in-one system.
Yeah.
That has like the controller and a virtual deck with like the wheels that kind of look like what they call CDJs. That you can manipulate just like a turntable.
So it kind of looks like a vinyl thing?
It's a little small little pad that just acts just like a vinyl. Uh-huh. That's the standard now. So now like you just have, your laptop, your controller, and you're ready to rock and roll. Then I had to buy, my mixer. I had to buy turntables. I had to buy needles. I had to buy, vinyls, control vinyls, and all this shit.
What year was that when you were doing that?
That was 2008. And it was still... and we were already starting to go to the digital thing, but I wanted to learn the proper
basics,
way.
Right?
Yeah, so I went and bought turntables and needles and the whole 9.
That's cool.
So I went in there, and it was probably god awful, but I was trying, and I was watching YouTube videos, and it just kind of spiraled, and I got better and better, and Feel Goods downtown opened, which was like a rock bar. And for some reason, I really took a liking to classic rock, and I loved playing it because I loved the sing-alongs, and I loved the people like you play like Sweet Caroline or Journey or anything, the whole bar singing along. So I did a lot of that, and this was a rock bar, so I'm like, I want to play here, So I went in
because everybody's singing to what you're playing.
It was
right?
fun, and I think all in all, like besides just being a DJ, my main goal was always to just throw a good party. I like being an entertainer. I like people having fun. A lot of DJs you'll meet will play to what their liking is, and they don't do a very good job because they're not feeling the crowd. They're not. I'm very hyper focused on what is the crowd doing. What are they reacting to? They don't like this. All right, we're going into something else. They don't like this. We're going into something else until I find what the vibe is that night. But so I went to the Feel Goods. I met with the manager owner, and I was like, I really want to work here. I'm a new DJ. I was young. I was motivated. I'm like, can I, what do I have to do? He's like, well, make me a mixtape. And I was like, I made a mixtape and then probably never listened to it. But he said, I have Tuesdays open. We don't do any business. We make like $300 a night in sales. He's like, if you want it, you build it, you can DJ. He's like, it's yours. He's like, you want some marketing materials, just make it happen. So I'm like, okay. And I've always been like a personable, knew a lot of people, always good at promotion and shit like that. So I cranked out this Tuesday. I think it was a ladies' night at first. They went from doing literally $300 in sales to the point where we were doing 6,000-7,000, every Tuesday, up into like some like 10 to 12,000 on busy nights. So I was getting paid by the bar like percentage, and I'm making fucking checks. They're writing me $2,000 checks for a night. So
now, are you still working in Jupiter? Are you working there at all?
No.
Now you're done with that. You're just doing this. So.
I mean, I do. Oh, Blue Point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, back then, were you still?
I was just in Jupiter at that one bar.
Yeah.
And I got
and then Tuesdays you were here.
Was my second gig.
Now, how long did it take you to get it from 3? Because you walked in basically to a shit night.
It was fairly quickly. Now, me looking back now and trying to do it now, I don't know how things have changed so much in the industry. So many venues opening up, and it's spread thin. But I mean, it was, I want to say, a 3-month period.
Damn, that's good.
It was pretty
man.
quickly. And I was doing just old school, boots on the ground promoting. Fucking meeting people, passing out cards. It wasn't just people sitting around Facebook doing that, which is a stupid tactic. I still like to go old school. But we just, every week, and we, like I said, we got to the point where it was like 6,000-7,000, and this guy's like thinking I'm a fucking god.
Yeah,
like,
I guess so.
So they bought the club next door, Monarchy, which was a house music club, and they're like, hey, we want to launch a Wednesday. Would you want to do that? So it was called Crash. I actually got tattooed Crash Wednesdays. I made a logo, a brand, and I actually stole it. Not many people know this, but I stole the brand and the image from a club in Vegas that had a night called Crash Tuesdays.
Okay.
Or no, it was called Bang Tuesdays. So instead of Bang, I put Crash. And just made the logo, and the whole concept was pinup girls, old, retro comics, like the screens, everything like that. So we launched this party, Crash Wednesdays. Same thing happened. I don't know fucking how, but it blew up, and we were doing 600-700 people on a Wednesday night. So now I have Tuesdays and Wednesdays there. I'm making $3,000-$4,000 a week in 2 nights. And
what are you playing Wednesdays?
That was more of an EDM thing. We were playing like up-tempo EDM remixes, hip hop house mashups.
And you're still doing the rock on Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays,
yeah.
And it fucking went crazy. So next thing I know, like Wild 95.5's hit me up.
Really?
I still work for them. I've been working with them for 10 years. I had on and off have had on-air live mix show, Fridays, Thursdays and Fridays at 10 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Really?
Yeah, I was doing.
So now what do they do? Just call you? Or how do they get a hold of you?
I think
back then, how it started?
Well, it started because they were doing promotions at the clubs I was working at.
Oh, okay.
So I got so basically they would be in there doing a broadcast, and I'd be DJing, but it wouldn't be on air. I'd be DJing for the club while they're, kind of faking the funk. I mean, doing this. They're, we're down here, feel good, it's crazy, and girls are, we're doing little interviews and stuff like that. And I want to say they came up to me and said, hey, do you want to do a live broadcast on air? Let's try that. So I was like, yeah, absolutely.
You're like, hell yeah, right?
And I did a great job. My thing was always like, I don't want to do the tricks or anything like that. I want to play a good set, and I want to mix the music together well. I want it to flow very nicely. So they liked what I did, and I've always been kind of considered like a cheesy DJ because I play to the women and I play all that fun stuff, and it was perfect for what they were doing.
But that's where the money's at,
That's
right?
where the money, and that's why I did it.
And then the guys were just going to follow the women.
I've stayed super relevant for 12 years, almost 12 years, because I adapt and I play towards the crowd and I do it right. You'll see a lot of guys that come and go, and people don't want to pay them or don't book them because they're playing what they want to play. So I started live mix show in Wild 95.5. I was doing all their events, and next thing I know, I'm like, hey, do you want to come up here in Orlando? We got this spot. I want to have you come DJ. Social media started blowing up a little bit. I was doing Jacksonville, Orlando, Charlotte, North Carolina, Vegas. I did a couple of gigs in Vegas, and kind of like was doing really well.
Vegas had to be a blast.
Yeah, it was a blast. I mean, I actually.
What was your first time in Vegas like? When you were you nervous
as a
going
DJ?
up?
Yeah, super nervous. Yeah,
packed.
Yeah, we did a. Well, it wasn't crazy because it was a pool party at the Palms.
Palms is heavy hitters,
and that was when it was the shit. I mean, I don't think it is what it used to be, but
yeah.
And I did that and a ghost bar at the Palms as well, and it wasn't crazy packed, but I was still nervous as fuck.
You're in Vegas,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it's Vegas. This is where
it's your hometown, West Palm.
And a lot of my guys are out. All my buddies are out there now, and I've kind of stuck to being like a local DJ because I've got so many connections here that I couldn't really get a. I have other responsibilities, marketing, promotion, social media, and I do a lot of other things. So it's hard for me to get away and go, do a lot of shit like that. But I had a good little tour, and I had fun. The radio, I still do the radio thing. I'm also on Fit Radio, which is a fitness app that features, a lot of the best DJs in the nation. There's like 100 of us on this app, and
there's only 100 of you, and you're one of them.
Yeah, I lucked out because my program director at Wild 95.5 was good friends with the program director for Fit Radio, and I was doing CrossFit at the time, and I saw the girl was playing this Fit Radio. I'm like, what is that? And I looked at it. I was like, this is interesting. And I told the program director, and he's looking at it. He's like, I know her. So he kind of wrote her an email and said, hey, this is our guy here at Wild 95.5. And she's like, all right, let's do it. So I send them like monthly a mix. If I had time to do a couple more, but it's pretty cool. I have millions of views on this thing.
And what's that called? Fit app?
Fit Radio.
Fit Radio. And how
Radio.
can they find you on Fit Radio?
Just click on the DJ section, scroll down.
And it's just right there.
Yeah.
What's it say? DJ.
It's just a JR. JR. Yeah.
And now at this time now you go from Jupiter to Feel Goods. Now
and Monarchy. Yeah.
And then the radio station, what was it?
Wild 95.5.
Wild 95.5.
It's a local iHeart
I was coming
radio.
back and forth from there at the time.
Yeah.
But they were big though.
Yeah.
And so now at this time, how many years into let's just say DJing was it when you got that call?
I'd say probably three or four. 3 or 4 years into it.
So you moved pretty quick.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
Yeah. And you were going under, what were you going under then? Because you were saying you went under one.
As far as the name?
Yeah.
I was always JR,
DJ
DJ, JR. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I tried to, I wish I would have thought it out more at the beginning, something that was more brandable. But then I didn't really know much about marketing or branding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, my name is JR. And then I looked and I typed in DJ JR, just like my initials. And there was like thousands of people who went by that. So that's why I did the spelling a little different, JAYR, to differentiate. But I didn't get to come up with a cool fucking name, so whatever. They say actually the DJ name is supposed to be given to you by the guy that trains you, and you're supposed to be like given a DJ name. That's the theory behind it. But
okay.
So, but I don't know.
Okay, so now you're starting to move around. Now you get to Vegas. Did you go to Vegas?
Yeah,
they were happy.
I went there a few times. I ended up getting way too hammered every time I was there, so I was kind of like always had anxiety about going there. I'm like, I know this is going to turn into a big party, and I kind of just want to focus, but we're with a group of DJs, and everyone just wants to go out and have a good time, go to the strip clubs, and do all that fun stuff and gambling. But it was fun. I loved doing it.
And then you excel from there.
Yeah, I came back, and it just got to the point where I couldn't keep up with the gigs I was getting. I was just getting calls left and right, and I got to the point I was DJing 6 nights a week, and
you're partying every night too.
Yeah, every night.
So you're waking up feeling like shit,
and just doing it over
and then
over
have to get it together
again.
to go out.
Yeah,
and it's not like you're just going out with your buddies. You got to be on point.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, there are times that I don't remember my set, and I would open my laptop the next day and I'd look at my history. I'm like, oh my god, what was I playing? Sesame Street theme song. Like what? Like I was just doing all this crazy shit.
Playing, I hope everybody was.
But everyone was like, dude, they fucking loved it.
Yeah,
you were just going crazy, and. That's the thing to me is like more than just the music. Like I said before, my thing was like I want to entertain and I want people to have a good time, and that's what the energy. When I feel that energy and people enjoying themselves, and you're having that connection with the crowd, and they're jumping around, and they're doing anything you say. Like I love that. That gives me goosebumps when it happens.
See, that's probably why you've gotten so successful, because it wasn't just about the money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was about the content that you were delivering, or what you were delivering to the crowds, for the people that paid money to come in to see you. The money's great, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the money.
Yeah.
But you also enjoy maybe even more to an extent. And the crowd goes home and says, hey, JR was
I love that.
JR was a beast.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that.
Because somebody could give you $1 million. Okay, great. It's $1 million.
Yeah.
But, that doesn't always fulfill you.
That feeling, and you don't get to experience it too much because, I mean, yes, it's one thing when you're DJing at a club every Saturday night. Like I've held residencies at all the big clubs in South Florida at one point in time. And that's fun. But when you get to do like a festival or something like that where there's literally a sea of fucking people.
Yeah, now where's this one at?
That's actually my buddy made this. I think that's Sunfest. I want to say that's Sunfest. Yeah, that's Sunfest. I've got to DJ in front of a crowd that looked like that. And that there is nothing. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. I've got to open up for Flow Rider, Sean Paul, Pitbull. I've got to do stuff like that. I've dealt with a lot of celebrities.
Wow.
Some more underground guys, Dirt Nasty, Mickey Avalon, LMFAO, Dev, the Cataracts. I'm just trying to think of people that I've worked with. A lot of big DJs, because not only was I DJing, but I also at these clubs were handling booking. So they'd be like, okay, what's the next big party we can do? And I would do all the contracts and get these, and I was always picking the people that I liked. And I was getting to work with them, which was really cool.
So now, when you start getting these calls where you're doing 6 days a week, now at this point, how many years are you into it?
Probably like 5 or 6.
Man, you moved quick. I mean, when you say 5 or 6 years, I mean, that's quick for a DJ. I mean, it's not like you're the only DJ around.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? And then to being booked 6 times where you are just like, huh.
Yeah, it was a disaster. I loved it.
And what year was this? Roughly.
So that was, you're looking at like 2013, I think, was like the pinnacle of where I was starting to do like just working my ass off and working like crazy. And I was just blowing as much money as I was making, but I was having a fucking blast, and it was good. And I had a few years where just great times. And then later on, we can get into that later, but it dwindled off, and it just wasn't as fun as it used to be because I was just drinking so much, and I was doing drugs, and I was doing all this shit. I'm sober now. I haven't drank in 2 years because.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Because the industry I'm in, it's like I had to choose. Like, do I want to continue doing this and blowing all my money and feeling like shit all the time, or do I want to? I've got a kid now, so I, had to shift the way I did that. And I was going to say earlier, the reason I got booked so much is not only because of my skills as a DJ, but I'm big on marketing and social media. So they knew that if they booked me, not only are they going to get a good DJ and a good performance, but they're going to get attention from social media. I have a good social media following. I have email databases, text databases, because I'm always good with the marketing background. So there was an added value to that. So that's how I got booked so much. And like I said, it was a good few years that it was just nonstop.
And then you said you took a break, right?
I did. I took a break, so I went off. I took a couple breaks. I was like, I don't know how much longer I can handle this,
Yeah.
And trust me, the drug, sex, and rock and roll, it was all of that. I was at strip clubs till 5 a.m, and it was fun at one point, but it got old. So I went off, and I was a salesman for Budweiser for a while. I did that for 6 months, and then it's always like, but there's so much money, and there's so much, all that fun. What am I doing? So I'd go back. And then I broke off, got offered a job to be like the GM over at a restaurant bar. So I did that for a while.
That's rough, right?
Oh, God. I was getting paid fucking peanuts I was fully invested in this place. I was doing everything. And it was Copper Blues, which is also, they own the Improv. And the owner kind of took a liking to me. He's like, not only am I managing Copper Blues and doing scheduling and entertainment booking and marketing and ordering and all that other shit and managing a staff and being there for operations, but now he's like, hey, I want you to take the comedians at 6 o'clock in the morning to all their press interviews. So basically doing this with all the comedians, like all the Wayans brothers, what's that funny guy, the big guy that's on the
Chappelle?
No, the big guy, the Robinson, Craig Robinson.
Oh, Craig Robinson, okay.
Drove him around. The Wayans brothers, a couple big comedians, Brian Callen. I was just doing that on a weekly basis too. So,
were the Wayans brothers cool?
No.
Assholes?
Total fucking assholes.
Really?
Yeah, total fucking dickheads. They spent the whole, I don't want to get too much into it, but they spent the whole time like just talking shit about white people. And I'm sitting there listening to this interview, and they're just like talking shit. And I'm like, really? And they're like, no, you're cool though. You're a cool white guy, And I was like, okay, whatever.
And they're saying this between themselves?
Yeah, they were having like an interview with a guy on like one of the urban radio stations.
Oh, Jesus.
And I think at the time there was a lot of like protests and shit going on, and they're talking about how fucking white people are like just rude on social media, and like it was just they were assholes. They were just very entitled. They were literally the worst that I had to drive or anything. They were the two biggest dickheads. Everyone else was super nice. Angela Johnson, she was super sweet. She's a big comedian. But
who's the funniest that you dealt with?
Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson.
He wouldn't turn off. Like he was just like
24/7.
It was also the longest time I spent. I picked him up at 6 a.m, And we did his press interviews, and he's like, "Hey man, do you mind if we go over to I want to get some clothes, I want to do this." So I ended up driving around all fucking day, and he just had so much energy, and it was just constant jokes and laughing and interacting with the people that we ran into, the fans and stuff like that. And he's singing. He was just singing all day long.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was a riot. And even when I saw him after that, he was just awesome dude. Awesome dude. He's a lot to handle, but he's awesome dude. And his whole thing was he plays the keyboard and does songs.
Yeah.
So he was awesome.
My grandparents had a restaurant.
Yeah.
And man, they were there. They owned it.
Okay.
They owned the building. They had a restaurant and a motel.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a motel, and then you had a restaurant, and then there was a bar downstairs with pool tables and shit. This was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were there 20. It was so bad that they actually built a house onto the back of the. So because you got the motel, so the motel went this way, and then when you would walk in to check in, there was seats and tables and everything to Italian dinner, everything else. So you had that. And then downstairs there was a bar, where you could play pool or do whatever you do.
And they were
20
just
years ago,
literally there 24/7.
So what ended up happening was because, like you said, I mean, you're doing everything.
Yeah.
And then you can't trust anybody.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Because
you can't.
You're not really going to pay them that much.
Yeah.
So then, tips get stolen, money gets stolen out of the drawer. So they basically ended up just running it themselves to the point where they built a freaking house onto the back of. I remember them construction. I'm little at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, really young. And I went over. I'm like, what the hell is going over here, Mom? And they built a freaking house on the back of the restaurant because they have a 24-hour motel and a restaurant, and they're just doing everything. I mean,
that's what happened. So, like I said, I was doing all these fucking tasks they were giving to me, and then they were adding more tasks. They're like, oh, this guy's Superman. Let's add more tasks on him. And then, for instance, I really got to learn the POS system and the computer system. So anytime the computers went down, if I was there, I'm coming in the middle of the day to fix the computers because that was happening
now you're
all
a
the
tech
time.
guy too.
I was everything, and I was drained. I loved it. I mean, I loved the people. They were my family. I still talk to them, but it was too much. And I finally was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to DJing. And it was right as Sunfest happened, and actually, because the owner got pissed at me, he's like, "You're supposed to be here managing, but you're over at Sunfest DJing." And I'm like, first of all, it wasn't my shift. I had another girl that I wasn't even supposed to be at work, and I had another girl that was like a key holder watching the restaurant as I went over there. And I was like, I'm sitting there in front of 2,000 people DJing with a Copper Blues shirt on. I mean, where's the value? Would you rather me be sitting in the restaurant where there's 10 people just walking around watching people, or be in front of all these people promoting the business?
At Sunfest.
Yeah. He was pissing at me about that. And then
maybe you needed to hit it on the head and say, hey, pal, do you know what Sunfest is, buddy?
Yeah.
For Florida?
Yeah.
You might want that shirt there.
But we got into this little tiff, and I'm thinking, it's like, what do you want to do? You seem like you're not, I'm like, I'm not making enough money. So we worked out a deal where I was just kind of, I backed out of the management position and started being like a DJ and doing their entertainment booking. And, I did that for a little bit, and it kind of just faded off, and I went back just fully just doing my own thing, which, I like being my own boss and writing my own schedule and all that stuff. So I'm back into it full force now. And
now when you're doing things like Sunfest, when you hit that level, I know you went and did the improv and everything else, and the improv's getting killed right now, right?
Yeah, from what I hear. I mean, I haven't been over there, but it sucks. They've been this whole thing fucked with them. And they reopened, and then the COVID police, the task force came in and said, nope, shut it down.
Really?
So they shut them back down. Yeah, they said they can't have entertainment. They can't have bands. So she even shut Copperhead down at one point because they're telling them no bands, no comedians, or nothing. You can't have entertainment. You can be open as a restaurant. You can serve alcohol, but you can't have entertainment.
Why?
So like I said, they were making up their own rules. They were going around town just doing whatever they can. And I honestly think it was just a power trip. It was all about these guys having a power trip. This guy would run around telling people what to do, shut your shit down. But they didn't take us. And their job, what they were originally put there for, was to go around and enforce things. Say, okay, you guys are not social distancing. Can you please, break it up? Can you wear your mask? And they weren't doing any of that. They were just there shutting people down and fucking, bullying businesses.
And why do you think they were doing that? I mean, you're in that industry, so I mean, what would make them do that?
Being in this industry as long as I did, the restaurant, bar, nightlife industry is always the redheaded stepchild, like especially in a city. All the politicians don't want you there because they think you're bringing all the riffraff and you're the drinking and driving. And,
you're bringing the drugs, the DUIs,
all that bullshit.
all that.
You know, they look at us like
Right.
a nuisance. So
they find a way to.
I mean, they've been
try
trying
to get you
in
out
West
of
Palm Beach. They've been trying to give us a 1:00 curfew for the longest time, like shutting down the bars at 1. We're open to 4 now. They've tried several times to make it where we close at 1, like Del Rey.
That would destroy.
It would just destroy. Like these people, that's when we make from like 12 to 2 is probably pretty much 12 to 3 even is the peak time where all the bartenders are making their money.
Yeah.
So like I said, they look at us as a nuisance. So they had an opportunity to fuck with us.
That makes sense.
And they did. And that's what they were doing.
That makes perfect sense. And like you said, when I used to go out all the time, I didn't even get in the car till 11.
Yeah.
I get there 11:30, and then you start drinking.
12 o'clock is like you
said,
12
and then
to 4.
about 12:30 you're a little bit
you're
loose,
having a good time.
and now you're
now
spending
the people are showing
money
up, and you're having a good time. And then you go hit the strip club. You're there till 5 in the morning, and then
that's how it
was.
goes.
But
now, when you're doing, like I said, like Sunfest and all that other stuff, are you able to maintain a relationship? Like, are you able? I mean, I know you have a child, but I mean, that's
it depends on the person. Like I've had,
you gotta have a really understanding.
I've had a girl that was not understanding. That would just I ended up not traveling or doing any big gigs anymore because she's like, I don't want you going out of town. I don't want you going here. And when I was there, I swear to you, this girl had me FaceTime her and show her the closet and under the bed because she wanted to make sure I didn't have a girl in my hotel room.
Now, had you done something prior to that?
No, not at that point. No,
you weren't in any trouble.
Nope.
So this is like
just didn't
never
trust
cheated
me.
on her.
Never cheated on her once.
And he still had to do the FaceTime.
Still had a FaceTime when I got back in the hotel room and show her around, make sure there's no girls hiding.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that and that sucked. But then like the girl I'm dating now and the girl I've spent like the last 3 years dating, she's in the industry and she's super understanding. Like she knows like
good for you.
She knows that if I'm on stage and there's girls sitting there next to me talking to me, flirting with me, she doesn't get mad. She knows that I've got a job to do, and it's throw a party and have people have fun, and so, to some degree, I not as much now, but when I was younger, it was like I always had that thought, like I want to make myself look available, and like this fun single guy because my job is I'm hitting the streets and I'm inviting girls into parties, and I'm inviting them in, and you almost want to give that, hey, let's hang out.
Yeah. Because if they find you attractive, and you're the big DJ,
so
they're going to come.
You want to use that to get them to come in,
but not to cheat on your girl. No. Just to attract more people.
It's a game, yeah.
Right. So now the girl you're with now, she's understanding. She's in the business.
Yeah, she's a bartender.
Now, do you take her with you to your big gigs?
No, I don't like doing that. A lot of guys do that. Like there's guys I know that
I don't think they choose to do it, right?
Yeah, maybe. But I see guys that have their girlfriends standing right next to them in the DJ booth, and being a manager of a business and being a booker and doing all these things, like I hated it when I saw like guys bring their fucking girlfriends and they're standing next to them in the DJ booth. I'm like, I don't want that. So I never do it. I don't like it. I don't do it. Stay home. If you want to come drink, party with your friends, fine, go have fun. But if you don't have someone to keep you company, I don't want you there.
Right. But do you think they're doing it because the girls are making them do it, or they don't want to get killed when they get home?
That could be a possibility. That definitely could be a possibility. Yeah.
But I think what you said now is you found somebody in that industry.
Yeah.
Because just reading about it and just from an outside perspective, I would think that it would be to date somebody for a long period of time, and when you're doing shit like this, I can't imagine too many women being okay with it.
I've been standing there DJing, and girls come up and grab my ass and shit like that, and right next to my girlfriend's looking at me, and she'll just look at and laugh, and she gets it,
Yeah.
So
I would say, hey, take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
I'm the one hitting
exactly.
off, right?
Yeah, it's like you're dating the coolest dude in the room. I mean, this is good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, do you how do you keep up with like the trends? Because they're changing all the time.
It's been hard lately. I think I always try to. I go in the Billboard charts, which is I always read who the top musicians and who it is. Working for the radio station really helps because they obviously that's what they do. They stay on top of the trends, who's cool, who's not. So working for Wild 95.5, I'd get emails. Hey, these are what's trending. This is what's not trending. These are the guys that are falling off. This is the next big thing. So the radio station definitely helped me. But social media is obviously. Just following.
So you put a lot of time into researching it?
Yeah.
You have to, I guess, right?
But it's easy now. But like I said, social media, like following all these, different influencers and different musicians and artists and companies and radio stations following all the media companies. That's kind of like, just scrolling through Instagram. Now I can see, what's big, what's trending, what's not. Hashtags, looking what's the top hashtags, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I don't think people realize that as a DJ, like it's not just going out with the DJ. Like you got to do your research.
I don't
be a dummy.
I don't do it as much as I used to, but yeah, I spend hours
really?
just going through and seeing like what's cool, what's not cool, what music's good, what are people listening to. I spend hours doing that shit.
And I would think that the radio station really helps a lot because you can really see the trends with that, right? Because especially when they're emailing you, look, this is what's hot, And then what do? You kind of put together, like if you're going to Sunfest, you kind of have a
big gig like that, yes.
Like a playlist
I'll come,
sort of thing?
I come with a playlist. I not necessarily song for song, but I'll build a special folder. Like if you look at my computer, there'll be like Sunfest 2016, Sunfest 2017. And I'll go through there and put the songs I want to play. Because when you're playing in front of a crowd like that and you're at Sunfest, it doesn't fucking matter. If you're in a club and it's not too busy, I have anxiety thinking, okay, what do I do to keep these people here?
Yeah.
How do I keep them from going to the place next door? And then there's actually a science behind it that, I'm like, there's certain like songs you'll play towards the end of the, because, people, if you're going to leave somewhere, you're going to go home. You're going to go home at midnight. You're going to go home at 1. You're going to go home at 2, like on the hour. That's when okay, I'm going to go home at 2. I'm going to stay till 2. So usually 15 minutes before that is when I'll start going in hard and trying to keep these people
trying to keep
partying,
them staying. Yeah.
Get them to go 15 minutes past the hour, and then you can start playing the music to get them to go to the bar to drink.
Gotcha.
So
that's a good strategy.
There's a little science behind it, and and another little thing I was always told, look at the room and tell me what the median age I think is, and I'll say, okay, well the median age is 35. What year were they in high school? Well, whatever. For instance, for me, I was in. What year did they graduate high school? 2000. Okay, what were the top songs in 2000? So you want to kind of put those songs out there because that always gives people that warm and fuzzy
that everybody can kind of like sing to and dance to.
It gives them like warm.
So
fuzzy.
You'll throw that in the mix of the newer stuff,
remixes or
That's
whatever
smart,
it takes.
man.
Yeah. So there's definitely a science behind it. But when you're going like that, I that's something I'll go more into like an EDM set, something to get the people like they're there for like they're festival people who want to just get drunk and hammered and pop pills or do whatever they're doing and just fucking party.
That's got to be the biggest high ever.
That's fun.
Is that the biggest thing you've done? Sunfest?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done other little smaller festivals but as far as like an open outdoor festival, that's definitely like the most people I've ever DJed in front of.
And was that your favorite gig that you did?
I want to say I wouldn't call it my favorite. I would say it's the most intense and exciting. But truly, I memean, I've had more intimate experiences with smaller crowds that are just literally singing every word to your set. And like, literally thanking you. Or like I'm like at Blue Point now, that gets pretty wild, and they'll turn off the music and they're like, one more song. Like so that's always
gotta
fun.
Be awesome,
it's a warm and fuzzy feeling. But being in front of there, having all these people going absolutely bonkers is awesome. But it's also very nerve-wracking. So at the same time as I'm having fun, but I'm also like, oh fuck. Make sure I fucking mix everything perfectly because there's a lot of fucking people here.
Now, like when you did Sunfest, how many times did you do it? 3?
I've done Sunfest probably 3 or 4 times. Like I was telling you earlier, I was supposed to be there every day on the main stage opening for all the big acts. And that got shit canned. So hopefully next year.
I mean, not that you're not on a big level now, but that would have taken you to... Now, usually how long, like these 3 that you did, or I should say the last one that you did, how long of a set did you get?
They're usually like 30-minute sets just to you're like the warm-up guy. You know?
But this year you were going to be on.
I was going to be like on there, like
hours?
on the flyer,
Really?
Yeah, like in there doing big sets, late night.
Well,
I always, and then besides the main stage, the barges were really big.
Mm-hmm.
So the party barges where you'll pack 2,000
What's that?
people. So
Barges?
right on the water, they have these floating, they call them floating oasis, and it's like a floating barge on the water that we put a tent over, lighting, and that's where all the 21 and up go to drink and party. That's a fucking great time.
Yeah.
And and the thing's shaking, and you're in the water.
Is that in the back?
Yeah, all the way.
Yeah, I think I was there 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you go past all the food and everything, and then it's in the back, and it has the white umbrella, and then there's a bar in the far back.
That's where so there. That's where after all the concerts end. Then they have like 2 more hours. Everyone goes there, and there's like 2,000 people just going fucking bonkers.
And it's tight as hell too.
Like this, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. You
Bonkers.
Can't move.
And the thing's rocking. They have a rule. The barge managers like do not play any song that has the word jump in it. Because we've actually sunk the thing before.
Yeah.
We like one of the things like popped or broke or whatever, and the thing we were sitting like this, and water was coming up in. So yeah, they're like they don't want us to get the people going crazy because they're worried that we'll literally sink the barge. But I mean, it's always great. It's fun.
So now, like when you're doing, whether it's Sunfest, whether it's 1,000 people, 500 people, whatever, what do you do when equipment fails? Because I ran into it.
You know, well,
How do you play around that?
So I've had many times where that's happened.
Tell me the worst one and what you did.
I've been in a club packed with 400 people on a Saturday night, and
everybody notices it.
And the music shut off. Like I lost power to like my board. I knocked a power cable out. Or I think I've knocked like the USB cable out of my computer that goes into the controller, and it's just complete silence. People going from crazy to silence. Well. I always had a thing. I did a thing that was kind of my go-to. I would grab the microphone and I'd say, listen, if you guys tell me you don't fuck up at your job, you're full of shit. So and then everyone starts laughing and it becomes a lighthearted thing.
Yeah, and it kind of clears
so then they're all laughing and, we get it back up and running. But you know what? Honestly, there's times that I was like, I should do that on purpose because it gets people, they stop. And they're all like, what the fuck? And then you make a funny joke or say something on the microphone, and they get excited. And then as soon as that music comes back on, they go twice as crazy.
It's like they reset.
Yeah. So it's not a bad thing,
Did you ever have a time where it was like a real issue, though?
Nothing too crazy. I mean, if it wasn't my fault. It was the venue maybe lost power or, shit like that. I can tell you one funny time. I got into video DJing a lot, and I went to a bar to do video DJing. They have screens all around the thing, and I plugged in everything, and I opened up my laptop, and I had porn on my laptop. So that went on all the screens in the fucking building. And
you had to have died.
Yeah, luckily only a few people saw it, but there was like a one guy that was like with his kid, and
great.
The owner kind of it didn't end up being a big deal, but when I opened that laptop and I saw that, my fucking stomach.
You probably wanted to go crawl in a hole.
I felt like
right?
I was gonna throw up. And I was like, oh my god. So that was pretty embarrassing. But luckily no one saw that. Yeah.
So that would probably be the worst.
That was probably the worst one.
And what's the video DJing where?
So basically, you have your controller, your mixer, and instead of playing MP3s, you're playing, I think MP4 is the movie file, or a move, or
these
AVI or whatever.
Yeah, these are M4V.
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 So you just download.
You're playing
music
the music videos. Okay.
And the cool thing is, so you can mix the two songs together, and just like you're mixing a regular MP3, you're mixing videos. So as you're moving the crossfader back and forth, the screen's doing like special transitions, and
that sounds awesome.
It's really cool, and it got really big for a while, but it faded off for some reason. But I loved it because I was at a club, and I was actually Club Safari. I don't know how long you've been around, but there was a place called Club Safari. It was attached to the Marriott in Palm Beach Gardens, and they had a DJ there who did all the videos. And it gave you a different feeling when you're like dancing on the dance floor and you're actually watching the music video and hearing the music.
See, I think that would be awesome to have the video.
Yeah, it kind of gives you a different, feeling,
Yeah, it's not just
your
listening.
senses
are
like
your senses, everything. Yeah.
So that was cool. I started doing that for a while.
Now, does that take a long time to prepare for?
No,
no.
That's the same thing.
I guess it's the same thing because you're still downloading.
Everything is exactly the same except the video is playing on the screen.
Yeah,
you're using the same program, the same mixer, except you've got like 3 little boxes that have screens that you watch, and you can choose whatever transition you want. I mean, you can get more intricate into it, but it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to ask you: is there any type of like copyright thing as a DJ?
Well, I've never been bothered about it, but yes, you're supposed to. There's like 3 main companies that you're supposed to pay a fee to have the rights to play the music. Sometimes the bars have the license. Mm-hmm. Or you as the DJ can have the license. I've never had one issue except one place I worked at, Wine Dive on Clematis Street, which was like we did a brunch there. It was fucking crazy. They had a guy come in one time and listen to the music and like write a ticket, a $500 ticket for not having whatever it was that the venue paid. But no, except for Facebook Live. Facebook, trying to do a live set on Facebook, they shut you down immediately. Like you can't play anything.
What's wrong with them?
And it sucks because I think it could take that app to the next level if you give people the opportunity to do that, play music and DJ. Like I can't even run a fucking ad on Facebook if I have a track playing without buying some stupid fucking what is it, like a royalty-free song that's like shitty to play in the ad. I used to be able to put like a good song in there, and now you can't even play an ad with music in the background.
So I mean, why, in your opinion, why are they like? Is it because it's Silicon Valley or what? They're like that with everything.
Yeah, it's I guess that the record companies and everything were coming after Facebook, and instead of just paying whatever they want, they're just trying not to.
Because like you said, they could take that app to much bigger.
Yeah,
and it's not like they don't have the money to pay them.
And so what people were doing is they moved to Twitch. And they're using Twitch to do DJ sets, but now they're going after Twitch. I just read the other day, so now they're going after Twitch for copyright infringement. So I mean, now the one option you can do, which if you don't want to get caught or don't want to get, you'd have
harassed.
to make your own website, and you do your broadcast on your website and share the link to Facebook, so you're not embedded into Facebook, so you can direct people to there. Which isn't as cool because you don't have like the chat options and people can't.
Yeah,
talk
because
to you
basically you'd have to make a post and in the post
say,
put the link in,
here.
maybe boost it or create an ad, and then they got to click to get to it rather than you just
than
put it up
and
it's right there. Yeah,
which is obviously way easier.
Probably at least 50% less outcome than you would the other way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're DJing at these smaller places, do you take requests?
Yeah,
and if you do, how do you handle it?
That's another thing that I always have tried to do that, to be a DJ who will take requests and try to make people happy. Because again, I like that warm and fuzzy when you see someone get happy because you played the song they want. So it's fun to do. But a lot of times they ask you for some really ghetto shit, and I don't want to play it. So I'll just be like, yeah, it's coming up, it's coming up, it's coming up. Yeah.
And
usually they'll just go away.
Yeah.
There are times you get some really fucking persistent people that just won't leave you alone. People that get really angry, especially girls, white girls. They're the worst. Yeah, they fucking play my song. They just continue bombarding
and then they get drunker and they
start yelling at me and cursing at me, and eventually, like, I'll get to a boiling point. And I'll be like, just leave me the fuck alone. I'm not playing your fucking song.
Is
just
that what
get
you say
away.
to them?
Yeah, get the fuck away from me. And they usually get the hint. But I try to be open to whatever,
Yeah, so you'll take them depending on the situation.
And it really comes down to, I'll play it if it's something that's I'm already going to play usually, unless they, if they throw me a $20 bill, then you have a better chance. But
that's what I would see that, and I'm like a friend, because I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I was in Philly all the time, and I would go out with guys, and they want some song played, and the DJ was pretty much like you. He'd be like, no, like he had his set, and he wasn't going to change it, and I'd say, like, Vinny, why don't you just give him? I mean, I know what you got in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Just give him a fucking 50.
I don't think people realize it. They don't, like. There are a lot of people that realize it. And there's nights. I mean, it doesn't. It's weird. It happens. If it happens once, it seems like the rest of the night I'm making tips. But there are nights I get $100 in tips for playing songs. Just fucking give the guy a $5 bill. He'll play your fucking song.
Yeah. Give him a 20 because you're
if you
buying
want it
drinks.
next. Yeah, you give him a 20, he'll play it next.
This is called life, right? If you want your
same
song,
thing. You want better service somewhere, you want to be sat quicker at a restaurant, it's the same thing.
I mean, how many times, I'm sure I can just tell by meeting you, I don't wait in line at restaurants. I go right up, and I pull out,
there you go.
There you go. I'm not standing here for an hour.
Yeah.
Now, all the other people can get mad, but I know you got $20 in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if it's
how bad do you want it?
Yeah. I'm not standing there an hour.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to take my money, then I'll go somewhere else. We'll take this 20 or 50 to not have to wait.
Yep.
Now, does your son think this is cool as hell that his dad's
DJ? Yeah. I've taken him like some of like the daytime gigs, and if I didn't have a sitter or someone, I would have someone just I'll have him chill behind me and play, a video game or something. But yeah, he loves it. But I don't like having him around too much because he sees all these buttons that light up and he wants to press everything.
And he can mess everything up.
So
right?
He does. Yeah. So
basically, you learn all this on your own.
Yeah, YouTube videos.
Step by step.
YouTube videos. That's how I'm learning photography right now. Is exactly what I'm doing.
You're getting into photography.
Yeah. I just bought a $100 workshop, and I'm just watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
It's the best way. It's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about someone else's time or bothering someone else, and I can sit at home and hold my camera and watch videos and learn.
Yeah, step by step, right?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why every DJ I've ever seen that's big like you uses a Mac? I mean, I don't use anything but a Mac.
Macs are better for music production, video production. Typically I haven't done too much video production, but music definitely. Music on Mac, music production software, music DJ software always seems to work better on Macs. And I don't really know the answer to that, but that's kind of like the standard. Like you
Yeah.
have a MacBook.
Every
MacBook Pro.
DJ I've seen
You have
that's a
MacBook
hitter.
Pro. And if
has
I
a
see a
MacBook
guy with
Pro.
a fucking PC, I'm like, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
But I don't really know the answer. I mean, I'm sure it works just as well on a PC. I'm just a Mac guy.
Yeah,
you know,
me too.
so
But I would be worried as a DJ, and even like with this, using a Windows because something pops
crashing.
up,
Yeah, pop-ups.
crashes,
and
viruses.
yeah.
I can't deal with it.
What was I was just talking to someone about PC. So live streaming, I heard, is better with PCs than Macs for whatever reason that was. I was researching doing live streaming, live broadcasting.
I wouldn't trust it personally.
Yeah. I don't
stick
touch a
to
PC.
Mac.
Some girl actually asked me to help her out the other day setting up some stuff on her computer, and she had a PC, and I'm like, I don't even want to touch this thing.
No.
Sucks.
I hate it.
I don't know.
Because you get the pop-ups, you get the Norton, all this pre-installs.
Yeah.
Mac, boom, boom, boom,
It's so
boom.
easy. There's no operating system that will ever be better than.
I couldn't agree with you anymore.
Yeah,
They do need to
iOS.
change the damn iPhone up a little bit, though.
Yeah.
They keep coming out with the same thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. I think why Apple. It's not really the phone itself. It's the operating system really that sets them apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just went. I was at the AT&T store today. I just ordered
A 12?
iPhone, the 12 Pro Max.
Did you?
No.
I kind of want the mini.
Yeah.
Well, I got small hands. I'm not.
I mean,
I'm not
I do
jacked
have big
like
hands.
you.
Yeah, but
See,
I mean, honestly, when I went to the big phone, I was having trouble like touching the stuff high, so it was weird for me at first. But now it's like I don't.
you know that Max is like 6.8 inches.
Is it big?
It's bigger than that,
one.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
That's the 11 Pro Max.
11 Pro Max. Yeah, the one you're getting is bigger. So that was my thing. I like to text.
But
with
you
one
notice,
hand.
I feel like things are now they're getting smaller. Remember, like, or no, they're getting bigger. I feel like because you had like the old school little Nokia, and then it was cooler to get like the Sidekick or the BlackBerry, and phones kind of got bigger. And then the Apple came out. Now that like it's cooler to have the smaller things or the bigger things. It's just going back.
Yeah,
to, like,
Samsung seemed to be the first ones to go really big.
Yeah.
And now Apple's going all the way because Apple came out with that the iPhone 11 SE, where it was like more affordable.
Yeah.
To kind of compete with Android more.
Yeah.
And they killed it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Actually, I heard that. I heard that was like their highest selling phone in a long time.
Yeah, it was. So now on the iPhone 12, they got the 12 Max, like you got.
Yeah.
They got the 12 Pro. Then they got the Mini coming out, the 13th, which is it's 5.4. So you got 6.8.
Yeah.
The one you have now, I think, is 6.1,
Yeah.
6.2. And the 11 was 5.8. iPhone 11 Pro was 5.8. There's a point to all this.
Yeah.
And the Mini that they're coming out with is 5.4, which is pretty much the SE that, like you said, was the biggest seller. It's like $800. It's more expensive because it's got the chip and everything else. But because they crushed it with the SE, they made the 12 into a Mini.
Mini, yeah.
To, a little bit cheaper. It's still basically a grand. But so now they have all of it.
Yeah.
And the only thing I see different is that it's they got that
The
fucking
camera.
chip in there.
Well, the camera. I know that they keep improving
Yeah.
the camera, and the front-facing camera has a better, better camera. But I hate to say it, but I've just been a guy that just always go big or go home. I just want
I'm with
I want
you.
the biggest, best one they got. Give me that. I want that.
With my midget fingers, I might even get the bigger one, not
Yeah.
the 6.8.
Yeah.
I can't handle that.
I went like same thing. Like I went to go buy a camera the other day, and I'm like, "What do I need?" He's like, "Well, you got the Sony, Alpha 7 or whatever, and this lens." And I was like, "Give it to me. I'll take it. It's the best. I want it." And I fucking gave him my card. He's like, "Oh, $6,000." I'm like, "Oh fuck." I didn't expect that, but
But you know what?
I
If
like
you're
all
gonna
the good
do
toys.
it,
I want
right.
the big toys. I want the good toys.
So when I was building this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this thing. So I must have bought a lot of shit I didn't need.
Yeah.
But I'm listening to other people.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you think? What do you
That's-
think?
yeah.
And then finally, I was like, fuck this. And online, I typed in, what equipment does Joe Rogan have in the studio?
Okay, there you
And I
go.
went down the line, everyone, the board, the camera, the microphone. Boom. I went in. I said, I don't care how much it costs.
Just give me
This
that.
is what I want. This is what. And the guy's like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I said, look, if I'm going to do this, I'm
You
going
gotta
to
do
do
it
it
right.
right.
That's another thing. Like people always come to me, especially about DJing. Like, well, I saw this mixer. I want to buy this. It's only $200, and I can learn that. I'm like, listen, don't do that. Spend the money. Get the good equipment. Because if 6 months from now you've been practicing on this thing and you're ready to go rock and roll at a club, you got what you need.
Yeah.
Then you're going to want to buy something else and sell this and buy something else. Just get what you need.
Yeah, and if you don't have the money, just wait.
Yeah.
Wait until you have the money. Start studying your thing.
Right. Yeah.
Do you use Logic on?
No, as far as like production goes, Ableton.
Is that Ableton?
And that's a lot of the DJs use Ableton as well. Ableton, and then what's the other one? So the P. There's another.
Adobe makes it.
Is it? I think it. What's the Adobe one? The music
Adobe
production?
Pen. I want to say it's. I'll remember it when.
Yeah. But it's the Adobe program everyone uses, but Ableton has always kind of been my go-to.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I know the best.
So, what event do you have coming up next, or is everything just like in a halt
You know, it's
right
still
now?
kind of weird. You know, I got Saturday's still doing Blue Point up in Jupiter.
Oh, you still can do it?
It's doing that. Yep.
Is it busy? Are people coming out?
Yeah.
Really?
Packed.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Fridays I'm doing Batch on Clematis Street. We're doing like a little promotion there. Like I said, I also do a lot of promotion and marketing work. So sometimes I'll go into bars that are slow and create, nights.
Try to help them out.
Sunday brunch at Batch, and then Roxy's Rooftop in the Biz Night on Sundays.
Mm-hmm. So you got those going on right now.
I got those 4 gigs right now. And like I said, I'm getting into photography, so I'm trying to leave some time open during the week or during the day so I can spend some time with the kid, do some photography stuff.
What's your plan with the photography?
I rented at least a warehouse that we're going to turn into like a studio. And I want to do like boudoir photo shoots and like this, girls, the whole sexy thing.
Yeah.
And there's money in it,
And you know people.
And I know a lot of people, and I work, in all these clubs. So there's a lot of girls that like want, the OnlyFans is huge right now.
Oh,
and the fucking, Instagram models and shit. So that's what I'm going after. I think there's money there.
I think there's.
I'm not going to be some published landscape photographer. That's not what I'm going for.
Yeah.
I want girls to pay me $1,000 for a photo shoot.
And they will.
Yeah.
And they will.
Yeah.
And it's a good business. Photoshop.
I'm learning Lightroom. Was it Lightroom? Yeah, Lightroom.
Yeah.
Adobe Lightroom.
That's like a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's Lightroom and Photoshop.
I think Lightroom's like, is it the dumbed down version of Photoshop?
Yeah. So
I've used Photoshop. I used to do flyers, and I've used Photoshop.
Yeah. So Lightroom is like, from what I understand, because I learned Final Cut to edit all this.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
But it was YouTube.
I'm Adobe Premiere is what I'm getting ready to start learning.
Yeah. That would be fun. You'll have fun with that one.
So,
but once you get the Lightroom down, that will be good, and then you'll probably go to Photoshop.
Yeah.
I tried to get Photoshop, but I mean, there's just so many tools
so many things. Yeah.
But but once you get it, I mean, you can make a photo shoot unbelievable.
I was taking pictures of my kid, and we went out by the water. And, I learned how to use the brushes and the gradient tools and all this. And I made, I took the picture, and it was kind of a gloomy day. Made the sky look nice and blue, the water teal and everything.
And the layers on top of layers, yeah.
And it's pretty wild.
And like you said, it's all on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you'll do good with the photo tech.
I think I will, too.
And especially with the people that you know.
Yeah, it's connections and stuff. That's when I walked in here, I was talking to a girl. We're doing a little lingerie shoot in the warehouse. I bought some props. I got a really nice, expensive rug and a nice couch, and the girl that I'm working with, she's another photographer. We're picking up. I got another huge mirror. We're just getting little props in there to just do some cool stuff and see how it turns out.
If you need any extra tripods, I got about 30 in the closet out there that I hate.
Really?
Well, just because they got to be strong and all kinds of because everybody's a different size.
Yeah.
It's odd. So is there a certain way to get a hold of you if they want to contact you to do the photo?
I mean, right now, honestly, my Instagram at IamJustJR is pretty much where I do most of my dealings. Besides, obviously, I mean, I don't even think people call anyone anymore.
It's either text or
Instagram DMs.
Now, do you mess around here on Twitter a lot?
I don't as much as I used to. You'll see, so I'm a big wrestling fan. If you look through my Twitter feed, it's all about horror movies or wrestling.
Horror movies. I can't watch horror movies.
I love them.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. It's like my passion.
I hate them. Yeah. So this is your Twitter here.
Yeah.
And that's at IamJust
JAYR. And that's the same. Yeah, that's the same on the Instagram's the same.
And so that anybody knows watching this, it's not the other one. What was the other one that we put in?
I am DJ JR. That's not that one.
Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah.
This is the one you want.
Yeah.
That beast right there, that's what
guy.
you want.
That's the guy.
And then here's your Instagram. It sounds like this is your...
Yeah, we got a little sexy lady. So that's that girl right there. So if you go up one more. So that's a little photo shoot we just did. That's me as Jason, and that's the girl that I'm working with. She's another photographer.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that boudoir shoot on Tuesday, and she did all those pictures.
So you're mainly on Instagram.
My
That's
Instagram
that's
is
your
what
biggest
I
thing?
focus most
Yeah.
of my. There's me at Wild 95.5. You know.
Where's that?
That's right there. That's Wild 95.5 Studios.
Yeah.
We're doing a little mix show.
Dude,
recording
you're a big boy.
I'm not as I like I said, I was telling you, my arm, I fucked me up, and I can't
Yeah.
really get in as much as I.
How'd you mess your arm up?
I honestly, I don't know. I tore like a something in my bicep.
Yeah.
It's just gotten worse and worse and worse. So I went to the VA, and I'm going actually back tomorrow, and I'm probably might have to get surgery. I don't know.
And your Instagram is I am just JR.
Yeah.
You know,
Easy.
and they can contact you for that
Yeah.
to get a photo shoot
Photo
done.
shoot. You need a
booking,
DJ. You need marketing, social media. I do everything.
You do all that.
Do all that
and
stuff.
then you got Facebook,
Yep.
and it's
That one.
just. I guess you would just type in JR Hutter, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
JR Hutter DJ.
JR.
JR.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Is that your kid?
Yeah, that was his birthday
cute
party.
kid.
Yeah,
Look
he
at the kid.
Yeah.
Look at
Well,
this guy.
that's not him. That's
I'm
his
sorry.
buddy. Here, go. Let's see right here. Go up. He was go up. There he is. That's a picture I took the other day. That was
This one
we
here.
go up with the Batman shirt on. See it all the way at the
Oh,
top.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that was that's the before the edit. But I made another one after this where I learned how to make the water blue and the sky blue and
Yeah.
But cute kid. Pain in
Yeah.
my ass, but he's
yeah.
great.
Good looking kid though.
Yeah, he is.
Well, at least it's not a girl. You don't have to get your gun out. You know.
Yeah.
I have a daughter.
Yeah.
So,
I would not want that. Yeah.
And then this is your homepage.
Yeah, that's a little
And,
bit.
you know,
That's got my links.
Yeah,
Actually,
and
that's the best way. If they go to johnhutter.com, it's got all my links
Yeah,
right
just
there.
go to johnhutter.com.
Yeah.
Father, DJ, Army veteran.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that was some awesome stories about
Yeah,
Iraq,
yeah.
man. And just how you came up and you did it
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah,
and
it's all,
shit.
everything I do is pretty much self-taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool as hell. So you got to come back in because your photo thing is going to take off.
Yeah, I think so.
Because a lot of people are at home now.
Yeah,
And-
well, that's the thing, and that's like, if we do get shut down with Biden coming in, like I've got backup plans. Like I'm going to go hard with the photo stuff because people are still going to want to continue their social media and their people. Some people have money, want to spend it, and hey, I'll come over and take photos, whatever.
Yeah, and that OnlyFans thing
Yeah.
is that because again, if they shut everything down, people are going to be at home.
Yeah. I've got other. Next time we talk, I'll come in and I got a whole other fucking. I got involved in webcamming and OnlyFans at the beginning of this COVID thing.
Oh,
and, and that's just a whole other.
That would be a good one.
It is.
That would be a good one when you come back in.
Definitely.
So go to just to make it easy, go to johnhutter.com.
Yep.
His links are all right there.
Mhm.
He's a really nice guy,
Mhm.
intelligent guy, polite guy. I mean, I'm not a shit talker.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. If I thought you were an asshole, I wouldn't say that.
Just
So,
tell me I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean, I'm straight up. So
Yeah.
you're a good guy, and I really
Thank you. I
appreciate you coming
it. Yeah.
in.
I appreciate.
Thank you, John.
having me.